Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. So I'm showing you the digital sketching process that I do for thumbnails. Now it's pretty much the same thing that I do for pencil to paper. The only difference is you'll see my layers over there on the right, and I don't use many layers at all. I have one for a grayed out background so it's not as harsh on the eyeballs, and then I have a pencil layer. So as far as what I'm using, this is Photoshop, the newest edition, and there's no need for fancy brushes here. I use Kyle Ultimate Pencil Hard that comes equipped in the dry media brushes folder, and it's worked out well for me for the past, I don't know, 2 years or so. All right, so when I'm sketching thumbnails, you'll see that I am remaining very, very loose. The document itself is running at 300 dpi. So when you're sketching, make sure that it does not fall below 300 dpi. Otherwise, if you have to zoom in or you're doing a lot of detailed work, it's going to look grainy and pixelated and it's not going to work. So 300 dpi seems to be good. Those of you that know me and know my channel, I do specialize in creatures, and my thumbnail sketching is a result of that. Now, this is how I start most of my projects, both personal and for client work. As a matter of fact, all my client work starts like this. But when I'm just doodling, I don't have a set idea in mind. It's mainly, let's see what lines we can throw together and create. Now, for this particular bug crustacean thing at the top, I knew that there was going to be some kind of shell, but as far as how each individual segment will look, I'm just letting the cursor fall where it may. Speaking of the cursor, because this is sped up and I'm narrating over top of it, it's not catching every single little stroke for the cursor moving. So it looks like lines are magically appearing and my cursor barely moves. That's because it's not tracking it when it's sped up. I know I'm going to get comments like that, so might as well just explain it. But you can see that I'm moving quickly to the next idea. If I think I may use Control Z or Eraser twice this entire time. Once I think I fix a couple eyeballs. Other than that, try not to use an eraser. Whenever you're doing thumbnails, you try to do different silhouettes each time. We all fall into that habit of drawing the same thing over and over because it's comfortable. And that's okay. We have to catch that. And the only way to get better at it is to catch it and to tell ourselves, okay, we need to make the silhouette completely different. This is why I went from a strange crawling arachnid that's the size of a house, because you can see the little man up there, to what looks to be a flying creature. Not a dragon, but just some kind of winged beast. I like drawing winged creatures because back in the day I was a transportation designer, and you wanted to make the cars look like they were going quick. Even on a 2D surface, you can make movement with your sketch lines. So, for example, when you look at this creature with the wings, the sketch lines going back and forth have line weight to them, thick to thin, dark to light. But I try to make them wispy too. So it looks like they're connecting to something, but not really. Very, very suggestive. This is just a good method of putting movement into your creatures. And here you can see, even in the top creature and then the one I'm drawing now, I don't put a lot of emphasis in shading. There's absolutely no point to do that when you're doing thumbnail sketching unless you're doing a refined version. These are not refined versions. This is exactly something that I would use for client exploration. If they gave me a brief for, I don't know, a movie or a game, and they're like, hey, we need this creature to fly. We don't want it to have legs. It can't land. Or if it can land, maybe it's like a wyvern. Who knows? And then I would just start doodling. Also, I haven't erased, and that's the point. I stress this out a lot with, no, I don't stress out a lot about this. I stress this quite often with traditional sketching too. So if you're sketching along with me in a sketchbook, please know that it's okay to erase. The only thing about erasing is you want to do it sparingly, because you end up designing by eraser versus designing by the tool that you're drawing with. So the next creature that I'm doing, I don't know what this one's going to look like. You can see the lines happening. See how the vertical lines just kind of appeared? And I'm scriggling on some hairball shapes, and then a shape starts to emerge. I don't know where the neck is or where the tail is, but it just so happens that on the right side over there, I drew the line a little bit longer coming off those 3 legs. Now the shape on the left is a lot fatter. So now I'm thinking, okay, that's where the eyeball is going to go, and you can see that I put the eyeball in there. All this is happening for fun, and that's the cool part about it. Hopefully you're learning something too. I know that whenever I draw thumbnail sketches, there's always something new that I didn't think of before. Strange shapes that come together, proportions, and speaking of strange shapes that come together, I try really hard to put little shapes in there that I never combined before, because we all have that comfort level, like I stated before. The thing about the comfort levels is that we don't really grow as an artist until we jump out of that comfort zone and start creating things that we're not used to. All right, so for example, I tend to draw a lot of bugs, a lot of creatures that are crustaceans and arachnids and alien type things. But every so often I'll try to mix mammal in with it. Like for example, this one, I mean, you could say it's a giant mammal. It has 6 legs altogether with a tail at the end. So insects mostly have 6 legs or more. So that's kind of a fun combo. But I also try to put some muscle tissue and bone structures that you would normally see in hippos and rhinos. The bigger creatures like this tend to be more recognizable. Whenever I'm drawing, I always try to look at it as, hey, I'm a gamer. How is this going to look on the screen when I'm playing it? And that's ultimately what I want to portray. All right, so here I'm just putting in a couple little marks here and there. I keep these sketches close together, and I float from one drawing to the other, because when I'm drawing an idea on one, I tend to just go to the other one and be like, oh, I got to put in some shading there and do that. Sometimes this is a fun method when you're really experimenting, you have nothing in mind, and you start getting ideas for one creature when you're drawing something else. One thing I do want to mention, though, is if you are enjoying today, please join our Discord. Check out the links in the description below, Creature Design Workshop. And it's not just creatures, but it's a bustling community, and there are a lot of folks coming in, showing their doodles, wanting to get better. It's so much fun to see everybody's progressive drawings just get better and better. And then the other thing I want to mention is I teach creature design for film and games for Computer Graphics Master Academy. We're going through our winter term right now, but we do have very early signups. So check that link for creature design for film and games and bookmark it, so that when our spring term starts, which is in April, you will definitely get enough time to sign up for it in the weeks leading up to the April class. It's 8 weeks. We go through the entire process, creature design, talking reference gathering, world building even. We write stories about it. We learn about biomes. We learn about functional features, all the fun stuff that makes creatures believable. I hope you get a kick out of today. This is a lot of fun, so more digital work is definitely on the way. And I'll make the digital work a series too, so 90% of my channel is mainly traditional. But I understand that, hey, some of you viewers out there have Photoshop, Krita, Clip Studio Paint, you have your iPad Pros, whatever tool you're using. Let me know in the comments below what you all are working on, especially if you're doing characters or creatures for your own amusement, for getting better, if you have personal projects in your sketchbook, if you're maybe doing some client work, freelancing for the first time. I try to help out as much as I can. I get to I do read all of the comments, so good and bad. The other thing that I want to mention is, the painting that I'm putting on right now, this layer is a gray set to multiply, so you'll see the layers on the right. I've kept this thing simple the entire time. It's one of the easiest ways to sketch digitally, and I'll be getting into color theory too in later videos. But you want to keep things as simple as possible, and you got to use those layers. All right, so see how I'm moving the layers down and up? And I'm just choosing the color now for some accents. Accent colors are very important for these, mainly because when you got a gray background, gray drawing, gray tones, all of that, you want these things to pop. I spent a little bit more time on these thumbnails than I normally would on paper, only because I have the luxury of layering up the tonal shifts, and I can zoom in just to show everybody here. So I hope everybody enjoyed today. I had a blast doing this. Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.